Our story begins within the Galactic Senate. The Emperor has just declared the Jedi as traitors of the Republic, while bringing up his new galactic empire. The Emperor now has a new apprentice, but it's not Anakin Skywalker. No, someone close to Anakin, someone that Anakin knows deeply. Obi-Wan Kenobi. With Anakin being sent to Utapau, things were very different for Sidious. His hands were tied, he didn't know who to choose, and he didn't have any many options. He could have just executed Order 66, but, well, he needed an apprentice. And who better for an apprentice than Obi-Wan? Dooku had already suggested to Sidious that they should make Obi-Wan an apprentice, not Anakin. Sidious wanted the Chosen One, the destined one to destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force. In Sidious' mind, he was to bring balance to the Force as by bringing the darkness to rise over the light. In Sidious' mind, he was the prized apprentice, the great heir to his throne. He wanted the Chosen One's power to destroy the Jedi and secure his empire, and forever the Sith will reign over the galaxy. But with Anakin being off-world on Utapau, this made things very difficult. He couldn't turn young Skywalker to the dark side. Even the dreams of Padme would not work this time, as he's already revealed himself to be a complete dictator. This would not work in his favor whatsoever, so he decided to use something different. He wouldn't be able to just kill Padme, considering he had sent the Coruscant Guard over to her residence and mysteriously disappeared. That can only mean one thing. Anakin was on Coruscant, and there was no doubt he wasn't alone. Yoda's death on Kashyyyk was not confirmed, and Sidious knew no doubt that Yoda had to still be alive. With Yoda and Anakin being together, that was a true threat alone in itself. They were two forces to be reckoned with. Anakin was already powerful enough to oversee Sidious, and, well, Yoda, it was pretty much his equal match in power in the light side. And Yoda, and both Anakin together, that was a threat that even Sidious alone could not face. He needed someone who could actually match Anakin, and while he dealt with Yoda, and luckily for him, he had Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was on Mustafar dealing with the Separatist threat. The question is, when would Yoda show? When would they both show? He knew a feeling in the Force, he could feel it. Someone was approaching. And then, that's when it happened. The Emperor's two royal guards were knocked against the wall by an invisible force, and in the doorway stood the Grand Master himself, Yoda. Sidious almost had a little ting of surprise, but at the same time, he couldn't be. He knew Yoda would show eventually, but what was even more concerning to him was the lack of young Skywalker. Skywalker was not with Yoda. The question is, where was he? But Sidious knew already. Even with Obi-Wan's power to the dark side, could that be enough to destroy Skywalker? Skywalker was a threat alone. He took down Dooku without Obi-Wan. He knew just how powerful the boy was. Skywalker was destined to become his apprentice. That's why he wanted him, for his power, for how strong he was. But now, with Anakin fully in the light, fully standing with the Jedi, Yoda, there was no way he could truly win this. He needed to find some escape. He couldn't get to Padme because she was missing. That was clear. Anakin already had gotten to her, meaning the children were safe as well. Meaning he couldn't turn the children, because Anakin had them. So, he was pretty much dealt with in a big predicament. Even if he killed Anakin, that the children would still be alive. They could grow up to be like Anakin, and possibly kill him, destroying his empire once and for all. If he doesn't survive this, that is. Yoda would go down. He would be shot with lightning thrown across the wall, as Anakin would face Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Anakin didn't go alone either. He came with Padme, telling her everything that had happened. He wanted to save Obi-Wan. He didn't want to kill his friend. He believed there was some part of the good man that was still inside of him, even underneath Darth Vader. He needed him. He needed to save his friend. He couldn't allow the Dark Lord of the Sith to twist his mind any longer. He came to Padme and asked her for help. They both agreed and went. When they had arrived, it was clear Obi-Wan was not the same man. He was darker, his aura, his eyes, everything about him, his facial features were scrunched up in a very sinister way. Anakin couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. This wasn't Obi-Wan. This was someone else. This wasn't his friend. Anakin came up to Obi-Wan, begging for him to come back to the light, begging for him to throw down his arms and to stop the Emperor once and for all. But Obi-Wan just laughed. He laughed at Anakin at his weakness. He was always too weak to do what was necessary. Always too weak to embrace the darkness that was inside of him. He was too weak at first too. But now, after everything he lost, Qui-Gon, Satine, he would get it all back. He would save his apprentice, he said, and bring him to the dark side, showing him the trueness of the Emperor, showing what the Emperor tried to tell them, that the Jedi were fools, evil, corrupted. There was no hope for them. They couldn't save the galaxy. They couldn't even save Qui-Gon. They let him die. They refused to believe that the Sith had returned, and therefore let him go. Go to the grave. Anakin couldn't believe what he was hearing. This wasn't Obi-Wan. This was someone else. It was the Emperor talking through him. Somehow, some way, the Emperor broke him down to someone else, to Darth Vader. Anakin ignited his lightsaber, knowing what he must do, believing what Yoda had told him. The man who trained you, gone he is, consumed by Darth Vader. Anakin lunged at Obi-Wan, hoping to maybe he can just subdue him, not kill him. Obi-Wan was prepared for this though, and the battle began. Padme could only sit there and watch as the two battled. They began to enter the facility, destroying things all around them, as their lightsaber duel intensified. On the other side of the galaxy in Coruscant, Yoda and Sidious's battle began to ramp up. It began to grow more intense, as the dark side and the light began to struggle between the two. Sidious laughed at Yoda, gloating about how he almost turned young Skywalker over to the dark side, about how Yoda failed to be the Grand Master of the Order, to protect it, how he would kill young Skywalker and take his children for himself, to make them his prize pupils. And finally, at last, the Sith will have its revenge, and the Empire will reign supreme. Yoda heard these words and began to feel a rush of determination. Fulfill him. He would not let Sidious win. He couldn't. He had to stop him here and now. This could no longer continue. Anakin, he was the chosen one, even if Yoda did die. Anakin, he knew. Yoda knew Anakin would fulfill his destiny. He would do it. He knew at this very moment. Back on Mustafar, Padme followed closely behind, but close enough to keep her distance. She knew that Obi-Wan was not himself. Anakin had to try and stop him. He had to subdue him, save him, bring him back. That's what Anakin's whole goal was. He didn't want to kill Obi-Wan. He just wanted to bring back his friend. He knew Obi-Wan was not himself. He didn't want to believe what Yoda was telling him. He didn't want to believe any of it. He didn't even want to believe the security recordings he saw. There was still hope. There was still hope for Obi-Wan. He started bearing down on him. Anakin may have not been using the dark side, but he was still powerful. More powerful than Obi-Wan in the Force. He could easily take him down, at least that's what he thought. But Obi-Wan, he put up a struggle. He put up a great fight. Anakin found himself almost killed multiple times, trying to subdue him, almost losing his head on one occasion, and almost losing his other hand. This was truly a deadly fight that Obi-Wan was determined to win. Obi-Wan would not be embarrassed by his student. He would not be humiliated by him. He would show him the powers of the dark side, the satisfactions of it. And either he would bring Skywalker to the dark side, or he would destroy him. The chosen one would die if he did not choose the dark side. He did not choose him. Obi-Wan would bring Padme alive. Padme needed to be an exception. He needed the Skywalker children. He could train them to be his apprentices, to help them to reign supreme over the galaxy, and destroy the Emperor, making himself the Emperor of the galaxy. Luke and Leia, they would be his prized apprentices. They would make sure everything ran as it should in the galaxy. Obi-Wan would destroy Anakin, and he would take the Skywalker children for himself. Eventually, he would destroy Padme as well. She would be no use to him after a while. Anakin felt conflicted. He felt so conflicted. He was tearing himself apart from the inside out. He could feel both the light and the dark side pulling at him, ripping him apart, trying to tell him how to proceed, show him the way. He could feel the dark side growing within him. He could feel the anger in him rise, but he couldn't let it succumb him. He couldn't let it. Not with Obi-Wan. He would not destroy him. He would save him. During the fight, Anakin tried to speak to him, telling him that he didn't have to do this, that he could save him. He could bring him back, save everyone, stop the Emperor. Yoda was already confronting him right now as they spoke. By now, he probably killed him. There was no way that you can continue to do this. This isn't you, Obi-Wan. You're still my friend, my master. We can go back. We can go back to fixing everything. The Jedi Order, our friendship, everything. This isn't you. Obi-Wan didn't listen. He refused to listen to Anakin. Anakin was too weak to see the bigger picture. He was too weak to do what was necessary. Like, seriously, he was too weak to even save his own mother. It was truly a weakness for Anakin. He kept believing in the good, the light. The light was pathetic. It didn't know anything. It couldn't save anyone. When has the light ever prevailed? It's never done him any good. It's only brought him pain and suffering and sorrow. It's never brought him any peace within. Nothing. Nothing at all. The only thing that kept him going was the thought of trading Anakin for Qui-Gon. Anakin. Anakin this. Anakin that. When will he ever be considered about his feelings? Always there for Anakin. Anakin and his feelings all the time. And after all that, trying to mentor him, be his friend, he hid his marriage from him. His marriage with Padme. How disgusting of this boy. How dare he criticize him about anything. How dare he talk to him, talk down to him. Obi-Wan would make him see who was the real master, who was the real one with the power here. He would show Anakin how much of a boy he really was. Anakin started yelling at Obi-Wan, telling him that this isn't the Jedi way. This isn't who he is. He could still be saved. This doesn't have to happen. He's not Darth Vader. He is Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Jedi Master of the Jedi Order. He is still a good man. Obi-Wan laughed at Anakin, saying, "How dare you talk to me about the Jedi way? This? Look at her. Padme, your wife. She's pregnant with your children. No Jedi in the Order is to take a wife, or in your case, be a widower." Anakin began to feel an anger boil within him at those very words. He launched himself at Obi-Wan, going faster than he had did before. He was starting to speed up, his power increasing. Obi-Wan wanted to take advantage of this. He wanted to unbalance Anakin, but then Anakin began to realize what he was doing. He was letting Obi-Wan win. He was letting Obi-Wan get to him. He began to try and focus back up. He began starting to push Obi-Wan back. He was doing it. He was succeeding. He could stop him. He can bring him down now. Today, he can end this nightmare and finally save his friend. Or hopefully, he could stop him. Padme began to watch with anticipation, seeing how Anakin was handling against Obi-Wan. The fight became too intense for Padme to keep following. It got to the point where she could no longer see them. They were too far off in the distance, against lava, fighting each other to the very death. Anakin looked at Obi-Wan and said, "I failed you, Master. I have failed you." Obi-Wan looked at Anakin and said, with a smile, "You have failed. You failed as a Jedi, and you failed as a husband. You failed as the chosen one. You failed everyone. You weren't there for them. You weren't even there for your mother when she needed you. You're nothing. You will be destroyed. I will kill Padme and take her children as my apprentices. There is nothing you can do to stop me, Anakin. The dark side has won, and you have lost." Anakin wasn't even angry. He just looked at Obi-Wan with a sad expression and said, "I thought I could bring you back, but it seems that I'm too late. I can't save you, Master. You can only save yourself, and even then, that won't be enough. I will bring you down, Darth Vader, for my master, and hopefully bring down your master as well." The fight began to grow so intense that Anakin had jumped off the platform onto the ground. "It's over, Obi-Wan. I have the high ground." Obi-Wan smiled at Anakin and said, "You underestimate my power, Anakin. I am more powerful than even you." Obi-Wan jumped into the air, but Anakin was already in position. He was ready for this. He cut Obi-Wan in half, taking his legs and both his arms too. Obi-Wan sat there on the feet, yelling, screaming at Anakin. "Where were you, Anakin? Where were you when I needed you? You were nowhere to be seen. The Emperor took everything from me. He took Qui-Gon, Satine, and now he's turned you against me. You betrayed me. You betrayed me for weakness, Padme. I know that feeling. Satine made me only weak. Padme has made you weak, Anakin. Destroy her and have the power that you so desperately crave." Anakin can only sit there and stare. He can only sit there and stare as his master is truly gone. He realized in that moment it was no longer Obi-Wan. All that remained was Vader. "I see now," Anakin said. "My friend is truly dead." Anakin turned as Obi-Wan's body began to ignite and fire. As his body became too close to the lava, it was over. It was truly over. Obi-Wan would not survive it, as Anakin turned around and made sure to finish his master's suffering. He couldn't let him suffer. He had to kill him to finish the job. It was over. Sidious no longer had an apprentice. Surprisingly, Master Yoda had killed Sidious. He had contacted Anakin and told him it was finally time for Padme to give birth. Padme gave a successful birth, and it was over. The galaxy was finally safe at last. Dismantling the Empire would come fairly easy, as Padme was elected as Chancellor. Things became back to normal. Well, almost normal. Obi-Wan was gone. The Jedi Order was gone. But Anakin, Yoda, they would eventually find other Jedi survivors, including Ahsoka, who had survived. Maul was still alive. He was out there. The Sith were still alive in some shape or form, but crippled. Besides, Maul wasn't really a Sith Lord anymore, so they didn't have to worry too much, but they knew eventually they would have to deal with him in time. But for now, they rebuild. And that is it for our Star Wars What If. That was truly one that I liked personally, so yeah, nobody's ever really done it before, like this one. I mean, I've seen pretty much like Obi-Wan turns to the dark side, but never his battle on Mustafar with Anakin. So yeah, this is my version. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you guys like, subscribe, hit that bell. Peace to everybody. God bless.